going live now there, but oh, look at that nice one. Oh, sure enough. Hey, she got live there. Hey, how you doing there, Liz and Linda? How you doing there, Tim? How you doing there, Chris? You know, and everybody else who's joining us there. I gotta let everybody in on a secret, eh? Yeah, this here's my real voice the whole time up until now for the last 3 years. I've been putting on a fake voice there, you know. Trying not to sound too Canadian. I don't know what that's all about, but there, you know, there we go. How about you, Corbin wants to say hi too, eh? Come on, Corb. Hey, how's it going, eh? Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do some drawing, eh? All right, beauty. That's Corbin for you. I don't know how long I could keep that up for, eh? As doing my best. All right. So check her out. We got you know, a new setup going on there. My son come over to the host there yesterday and says, "Hey, your lighting stinks." And I'm like, "Oh, take off, eh?" And he's like, "No, it does. It's just wretched, eh?" So you know, here we are with the new light setup now. What he's figured out there, but. Corbin's now lying down on his side and purring. Not too half bad, if you ask me. I'm going to try some of that too. Let's see if I can fit in the chair that way. Oh, wait a minute. No, we got to do the stream. Corbin, you're a bad influence on me there, bud. All right. So here's today's page. And, you know, hopefully you can see it okay. Is that better sound now? Some ding dong here left his mic sitting over there, you know. All right. Yep. I think that's better. Okay, good enough. So yeah, so here's our real voices there, you know. Right, Corbin? That's right there, bud. Oh, yeah, you know, he's a good guy. And Lucy's here to say hi. You want to say hi, Lucy? Hey, what's going on, eh? How's it going? My name is Lucy there, buds. That's too bright over here. Come on down, Dad. All right, get back to your thing. All right, so there we go. Oh boy! All right, let's have a little sip of our tea here. Lucy's really interested in what's going on. So you can probably see her in camera there, eh? Hey, how's it going, eh? She's so noisy. Oh, quit being so noisy. All right. Okay, so here's the page that I'd started. Meow, Lucy. Meow, Corbin. How you doing, Malcolm? We're feeling better there, bud. All right, so we've got better lighting now, and I'll show you. I'll show you something fun in the sun. So Josh has got it all figured out now, so that cast shadows are gone. It's nice and bright. White looks white, and doo-dah. So we're able to get some more things done here, and legibly. You know what I mean? Legibly. So I've got a bunch of pages that I'm finishing off, but I'm doing it off camera. And that way, hello. Okay. So that way, I'm not bored and you're just doing the same things each day. But in the meantime, yeah, I've got a whole, I'll show you a couple things. This is what happens to me all the time is that I got doing so many things simultaneously that, you know, I'm constantly playing catch up with myself. So I'm working on this page. Hey, Liz, how's it going, eh? So this is the Niagara page that I'm finishing off, and of these little panels. And I'll show that. I got to finish the marker page, you know, that we got. Seeing the lighting better? That's my son's doing. Beauty. You guys fantastic. So this is a suggestion from Chris. And then I've got a few other pages to finish up here with different stories going on with them there. And, you know, guy falling off a cliff. Gotta love it. And here's a dragoon. And this is half photocopy collage, half drawn. And we're still having a time with that one. And I don't know what this was all about. Just drew a dude. So I've got all these pages to finish here, and I'll get to them. The principle of this was I just open up the sketchbook, and then I take details that are in the sketchbook and I put them to try to put them together in some sort of narrative, some sort of page structure. And so what this is these hand elements that are off of a page. And here's a random character that I drew. Here's the dragoon, and then there's a fella fallen from the sky, and then there's a giant who's chasing after a fleet of boats in the ocean. And pardon me, I don't know what the narrative of that is. I'll have to figure it out. This is another bunch of things trying out together. There's Letraset in here. There's ink, markers, Fidensuke, all kinds of little bits of jazz, just trying to play with all these different elements to see if I can uniformly tie them together. And again, this is images out of a sketchbook. So that didn't go anywhere either. Same thing here. Big crawling robot monster things destroying a city in the background. And here's the survivor telling you the whole sordid mess. That's all the images I pulled off that page. And I'm like, what do I do with the rest of them? And this guy's like, have a coffee. So yeah, same thing here, just different things assembling together. So yeah, I'm going sound. If you need my attention, just say my name 3 times. No, you almost caught me on that. No, don't even say it 1 time. Don't even say that guy's name with a B 1 time. Nobody needs that. So we've got the new lighting set up, and we've got all these different projects that we're going to finish off, and we've showed you today's page. I'll show you one more time if that helps. This is the page that I posted today, and oops, move it slightly over. Can I? Yes? No? Maybe so? What? Yes. Oh, we have the technologies. So yeah, this is the page from yesterday. So it's a mixed media. It's a drawing on jelly plated paper, and we're going to try a little bit of that today with the page that we're going to get crack-a-lackin' here. What I think I wanted to do though is to apply. So I've already got these pages started, and they're very black and white, and we're going to keep on that track, but I want to add various elements to those to show that even though you've got something that's unresolved and you're not sure where it was supposed to go, you can still do something with that. But to make it interesting, we're going to do this. Let me switch off today's image. That's 1. Okay? That's 2 right here. This is 3 right here with the guy jumping woo-hoo-hoo-hoo off the cliff. Hi, Luce. He is literally sitting right beside me looking at me. What's going on? And Corbin's curled up, watching the monitor to my side to see, hey, there's Dad in there. That's kind of cool. So this is, what did I say? 3. This is 3. This is 4. And this is 5. So there's your choices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vote for which one you want us to work on, and that's the one that we'll keep at today. And it's kind of fun. Kind of fun trying something out this way. And I'll show you some of the elements that came from a sketchbook and where we pulled those from. So feel free to put it in the comments for the number that you want. And while you're doing that, I'll show you some of the things. Here is the guy falling out of the sky. Here's the dragon. Here's the dude in his hand, in his body, strangely enough. It's like I'm assembling parts of a man. And The street with clothes. I think it's 3. There's our first vote. Excellent. If anybody else has an alternative vote, please put forward now. Or if you all agree, let's go for it. There's the hands, here in the back or in the bottom there. There's the giant. There's the boats. Like, it's just taking parts of a page that's in the sketchbook and utilizing those random images as drawn. 3's good. Okay, we got 3. So 1, 2, 3. So there's our third page. I think that there's a good amount established in the top part of the page, or maybe there isn't. So I keep something to the side. Excuse me, Corbin. And what this is a random pile of different bits and scraps of paper. And here's some tissue paper. So we can incorporate some tissue paper onto this page as well. But how did you do that, Chris? I'm glad you asked. So I'm just serrating it down here and finding a rough size that fits. Excuse me, Corbin. Would you mind if I slid past you, sir? Thank you. Thank you. So we've got some water and a sloppy brush. So I'm going to get my face out of the way so you can see more of the screen. And here we go. So we've got this established image. This is the top 2/3 of the page. We still have this and this section here that we can utilize. So I've taken this tissue paper. Now, one side of it is got a little pattern to it. The other side of it, not so much. So Lucy is attacking the tissue paper that I set to the side. Hey, don't attack the big sheet. Take this one. Take this one. Give that what's for. All right, so I'm going to take this tissue paper and I'm going to apply it to our page. All right. Now I've got, see, when I put the medium on this is going to peek through. So we can get away with that. But what I thought I would do is lay this over our image. So give me a second here. Lucy, don't bite that. Oh, that's the thing about raising kids and raising cats. You're constantly saying, hey, don't bite that. Right? She's looking at me like, don't tell people what I'm doing. All right, so I'll chop this bottom section here off as well. And then, what have we done now? She's over here having a ball. And I need a little palette. We got a palette. Look at us. People are going to think we got it figured out. We don't. Okay, so I've got some, this is a acrylic matte medium from North Shore. When things from the South Shore just, don't cut it for you. So I'm going to put some of this matte medium down on the page. And I recognize that there's a little bit of bleeding that goes on with the one marker that we've used. I'm kind of okay with that. Try not to have the brush too wet, maybe. But I'm not too worried about the crinkles. I'm not too worried about, the textures and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat because that might be boring. But just putting this down just adds something to it, right? It's a texture you're not going to get using markers, using, just the inks. You're never going to get these little patterns that you find in the, what's it called? Tracing paper? Tissue paper? All right, so let's see, where else can we put some? Let's stick some down here in our mountain area. Lucy gave up. And as we add more marks and stuff to this, once it's dry, this will make this a little more interesting. Is that going to fit? Is that enough? So I do it in two ways. I put medium underneath and over top. Some people will just specifically go to the area with it. I don't. So that's not nice and cleanly cut. I like the crinkles. I like the chunky edges, the ripped up bits of business. That to me is opportunities. So what I don't want is air gaps. Get rid of those. These vids. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I did that off camera. There we go. This is what I just put down now. These vids always motivate me to draw. Excellent. Excellent. Excellente. So we've got a piece of tissue paper that we've put down there. I'm glad to hear that, Liz. And then we've got a piece of tissue paper that we've put across here. So we're spreading this throughout the composition. I've got a little piece of tissue. I'll do this in camera. Fret not. And we'll put it across here. So our implied texture of the area, the land area, in this cliffside image is tissue paper. So because we don't have all of the marks and complexity put in here yet, we can still play quite a bit, and that's fun. Just realized why I'm picking up black now is that there's ink in the tray that I put the medium in. Fortnite. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought that was Liz that said that. I apologize. Welcome aboard, Fortnite. I apologize there. I'm trying to do too many things at once, maybe. I appreciate you joining us. So, yeah, so we've got some of these down now. I'm just going to thin out the medium a little bit, the water on the brush. So we have yet to identify what we're going to do in this bottom section here. And we're going to need to let this and these spots dry for a moment. But what we're going to do is take the drawing that we've already put in here, and we're going to pull some of these details out. So yeah, I need to let that dry just a little bit more. But we're going to go over, this is the same kind of thing I talk about with the mixed media page that I did on Jelly's plate yesterday, is that when you have this information in the background and you're drawing over top of it, and what I'd done is I put red pieces of paper in here. And so we've already got this green base in behind that peeks through the gaps that we leave in our drawing. But when you put the red pieces of paper in there as well, in this case red, the red peeks through now. So now you've got this red area of the face, this green area of the face, green area of the hand, red area of the hand. We know what's going on there, but it's just interesting stuff that the reader might look at and go, how did that happen? What's wrong with that guy? So, okay, so yeah, that's going to need a couple minutes. I've got a fan, but I find it's way too noisy. Way too noisy to use. Okay. All right, so we've got these things coming together now. They're drying out, but while we're waiting, I've got I don't know why I pulled out a ballpoint pen, but maybe I'll use, I'm trying to think of what I drew these lines on with, I think, just to fit in the CK pen. Good old vanilla soup. So I'm just going to darken up the lines in our character who is falling off of the cliffside. And I can do that here because this area is as yet dry. His legs are bigger than his arms and his head because his legs are closer to us. In case anybody's wondering what the deal is with the weird proportions on this. So as this is drying, it'll be the same scenario. I don't know how much of this I can get covered, but I'm going to go through, and these pencil lines that I put in, we'll start picking those out and darkening them up. So, not worried about everything being pretty and clean and stuff like that. It's a jagged rock face. So, I'm going to turn this around a little bit just so it's easier. So what I'm trying to think of the other topics I put down for today. Oh, I know what it is. So one of the things that I've never really done too much of here is talked about messaging in our work. I talk a lot about the how-tos. I don't talk about the what-tos or the whys. And the reason for that is you're going to have very different perspectives than I am. And so what I'm referring to there is you're going to have things to say in whatever it is that you're drawing that speak from your mindset, your experiences, and your thoughts. And so, and they're completely your own. And it's really important that you allow yourself that and not worry too much about losing an audience or people that, are your audience disagree with you or walk away because they don't like what you're talking about. Now, I'm not saying get political. I'm not saying stand on a soapbox and think that people have to in any way, shape, or form put up with your opinions, because they don't. They can leave. But there are values and ideas that you have in your life, in your experience, in your beliefs that they're yours. Don't be afraid of them. I get when we want to be courteous and considerate of everybody's opinions and everybody's feelings and how, we don't want to offend unnecessarily. I'm not suggesting that say whatever you like, be however you are, because that's not right either. But because this whole bent on individuality sometimes doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Like it's overly permissible, the society that we live in, where it says, hey, whatever weird stuff that wants to come out of your head should. I don't agree. There's things that, the taking stock of yourself and what your thoughts are sometimes leaves things in the stock room. You know what I mean? So, but if you've got messages and you've got ideas that you're trying to express and understand, you can go about it in a million different ways in your creative process, which can be maybe of some interest to people that are looking at it. But don't, cater specifically to, the idea of one person that may well be somebody you want to curry favor from for whatever reason. Like some people do that when they're doing art. I find that there's an awful lot of online art stuff right now that's just, why are you here type thing. And what I mean by that is, let's see if we can ink up here now. Oh, it's getting dry. All they're doing is catering to the vox populi. All they're doing is catering to trendy, be on board with everybody else, rail against whoever everybody else is railing against, agree with what everybody else is saying. And that can challenge your own perspective and worldview on things. So allow yourself to think for yourself and allow yourself to express, your own belief system, what it is that you adhere to. But expect that people might go. Expect that people might walk away because of whatever their headspace is. But I'm not saying your beautiful individual uniqueness of terrible actions is something that everybody hears. Please don't mistake me on that. But what I am saying is that in your creative journey and your creative voice and your, things that you hold dear to you, feel free to put those in your stuff. Chris says, I'm going to drive to work. See you later. If I can enter the stream again. Oh, thanks very much for popping in, Chris. We'll see you soon. So, that's a big challenge for some people because I don't want to do something that is not going to make people like me. Well, my way of operating is based on two things. People already don't like me. That's an easy one. To think that people out there, everyone out there in the world that I've ever met likes me is naive. But that's one. And, I guess I got three. So that's the first one, is that people don't like me. So why do I worry about it? Two, I'm going to explore and have fun and try to tell different stories and express different ideas and all the different things that I see in this creation that we're in. And, three, my favorite fan is probably some young person who lives on the opposite side of the world, who is one of the pages from one of my books is drifted on the wind and landed in front of their hut. And they have it stuck to the wall of their hut. They think it's the greatest image they've ever seen, and I'll never know about it anyways. So who am I trying to impress anyways? But at the same time, I'm trying to stay true to who I am, things I value, things I believe. Tough. It's a tough thing. This isn't a soapbox for me to stand up and tell you all the things that I value and believe. You didn't come here for that. You came to learn about making some pictures. So I don't, confuse myself that I'm going to abuse that. But if anybody ever wants to know, hey, Chris, what's wrong with you? Or why are you wired the way you are? I'll tell you. Just it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to stand here and tell you. I'm always open for them chats. When it comes to a public forum, I'm never going to be serious about that. But when it comes to a one-on-one forum, I'll be totally honest and serious. But if there's ever any questions that people have about what we're doing here, if there's creative stuff, or if there's why did you tell that story that way, those sorts of things, hit me. Well, don't hit me. I'm sensitive. But feel free to ask. So just throwing another little bit of white over top here. This is the thing I talked about with the other page, is that now we've got gray poking through in our lines. It'll be much clearer when we flip over to the scan and work in the digital part of it. This will be far more apparent that there is gray values from the tissue paper peeking through. And I'm going to leave the tissue paper pattern as our sky here. Why is that, Chris? Boy, am I glad you asked. Just because. So, Lucy's back. Hi. Can't drink that. That's yucky water. So now this is in a good spot. Let's move along and get this lower part cracking, and then we'll figure out what that final image is. And what I'll do is I'll open up the sketchbook and we can pick something out that might somehow fit. I mean, probably in my head, the more that I look at this and I think about it, in my head, I think that what was going on here was some sort of thing about, disparity. Like we've got economics here, and then people climbing mountains, and then people living in less than desirable positions. And that's coupled with potential space alien invasion, I guess. I don't know. So this is a ballpoint pen. We've got the tissue paper down. It's drying pretty nicely. But all kinds of great texture in it. So what I'm doing with the pen, first off, let's get it working. So I'm just running over the paper with the pen. Now I've got the pen on its side, right? So I can get this nice little controlled and softened line. But I'm putting this hash mark. I'm trying not to go over the rocks that are falling off of the cliff face. I'm trying my best. This area is more dry now, so I'm just going to move into it. And we'll add some more these detail lines in here in a second. But, so hopefully some of the little ridges are popping up now as I'm cross-hatching over here. So if you've got something that an idea that you're exploring, and you might not want to express it because of, well, I don't know if people are going to like that kind of idea. Somebody does. Maybe it's somebody you'll never meet that's living in a hut, but somebody does. But when you're putting out that messaging that you're going to include in your story, maybe there's a lot of junk out there. There's a lot of really awful thoughts and really dark materials. And I'm personally of a mindset that I've had enough. I don't want to hear it anymore. And allow your message to be happy and positive and lovely and wonderful like you are. Allow yourself that. Don't be afraid. Right? Trying to keep up. Oh, just making sure. Okay, so we'll put some more of these drag lines in here. Now I'm going to pull up higher as I go and put less lines down below, and I'll show you why in a second. But that's little bits of detail because I want to put intense shadow areas over here. Intense. Not in a tent. Intense. You mean all the shadows are living in tents? No. Oh, maybe. Yes. I'm so suggestible. So now we've got the initial pen and the initial black and white drawing. Okay. And then we've got tissue paper on top. Now we've got ballpoint pen scribbled across it. And now we're going to go in with a white marker again, just like we did up above over the globe, over the spaceship city or whatever this is. So we're going to do that again. But I'm going to do it like this. So what I'm going for here is that I'm putting in some highlighted areas, but I'm not covering it the whole thing opaquely. I'm going in these spots in between our black lines so that the gray of the background of the tissue paper is going to pop through, as well as the black line art that we've got. And all the white lines that we're putting in is going to do is diffuse that. Make some interesting little separations in here. Now the ballpoint pen is not allowing it to stay white. The ballpoint pen is mixing with the oil-based white, I keep calling it a pen, so white paint marker. And so it's bleeding and blending a little bit. That's okay. We can use that. If you put pressure down, it'll drag. No pressure, it'll just bleed in. So figure out part of your process about which effect that you want. So hopefully that's starting to separate the sides of this cliff face. Give it just a little more characteristics. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of these lit up areas that I'm dropping the white into is around the ridges and the areas that are more exposed and easy to see. And then, of course, we're going to do a little bit of that up here as well on the slope, the downslope. But over here, we're going to start putting in rough shadowing. Oh, my son went to Opus in Vancouver, bought a wonderful box of pen and ink set. It was 50% off because the ink went dry. Is there any way to rejuvenate them? It's a beautiful wooden box set. What kind of ink is it? Is it a water-based? Is it a water-soluble ink? Is it, if it's not, that's a little more challenging because it is truly dried. Like there's a bunch of different inks, and you can try different processes. Little alcohol. I've seen people kick some life into things. Little, rubbing alcohol in there. It depends again on the type of ink. Whatever calligraphy type pens use. Well, again, it still falls back to, is it light fast or not? Maybe this guy's dried out. I think he might be dried out. No, he's not. There he is. He's coming to life. He just wanted to do it on the back of my hand first. Weird pen. Weird man. So hopefully the way I'm coming at this top of this hill is going to make a little bit of sense. I got to tell you, over the years, to be honest here, my hand has looked like I've got some kinds of infectious diseases that have a myriad assortment of colors and textures to them over time, so different kinds of splotches. But the amount of paint that I put on the back of my hand, it's ridiculous. Am I using a source, or is it out of my imagination? It's out of the old noggin. But a lot of these images come from scribbles in sketchbooks. So I'm just trying to remember what a cliff face looks like as I'm drawing this in. So that's hopefully unifying these different elements in the composition. So now the tissue paper is becoming part of what's going on, right? Let's see how agreeable this guy's going to be. Just going to shake this up for a second. I want to do some more of the drawing that I did earlier with these ink brush pens that I've put together, because I really enjoyed that. I don't know if people found that enjoyable or not, but I really enjoyed it, and I want to do some more large compositions that way, because I've got some events, I guess you could say, where I'm going to be doing that in front of large groups. So this is what I had intended with what I meant by separating the front parts of the hillside. I'm going to start once again to watch the entire Star Wars movie series. I love the creatures and autos and landscapes and so much in those scenes. Right on. If you get an opportunity, I highly encourage people to check out Andor. In my estimation, it is the most interesting thing that Star Wars has done in years. That's just, by my estimation. So take it with a grain of salt. Oh, heck. Take it with an entire bucket of salt. I don't know how much you like salt. I realized with today's page, by the way, that what the punchline should have been for today's page was not me going yeesh, which is just a thought going through my head. I realized later on I should have put a funny, it'll cost you. Just the reason that I say that is because, of course, it's about a puppet and a puppeteer splitting up, and the puppet sues to have custody of the arm since the puppet's dependent upon the arm. And it establishes a new clause in the history of contemporary law, which is called the "Be Careful What You Wish For" clause. And then what I should have finished it off with in the bottom of the last panel was, it'll cost you, but I couldn't figure out how to contextualize that in the moment, with the whole clause explanation. So I didn't put it in there, but I want to figure out how to go about that at some point. Okay. So we've got, some blend of inks going in here now. And the whole point of doing this is really just to divide the planes, the different areas jetting out here, pushing some shadow in one from the next. So I'm going to throw some more line work in here. This is like Liz was, I think was Liz talking about it earlier, a calligraphy ink type thing, a water fast ink. The puppet would definitely have to be a narcissist. Andor is amazing. This illustration is looking incredible. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate that. Welcome aboard. So Andor, I think, is phenomenal. It's a 2-season television series. And it leads up to, so if you watch it, the 2 seasons, it leads up to Rogue One, the film. It's about specifically the one character that's in Rogue One and his becoming, his becoming a rebel. Something that we've never seen before in the Star Wars context. A, and B, no lightsabers. So, yeah. It's fantastic. It's written by Tony Gilroy, the same writer who wrote and directed Rogue One, I believe. I believe he directed it as well. But this is the showrunner for the Andor TV series, and it's just phenomenal. I absolutely enjoy the heck out of it. So, because it's all about judgment. It's also about our moral value and our sense of right and wrong. Chad says, Andor is fantastic, and I just watched Rogue One. Nice. Yeah, you've got to watch the Andor series first before you get to the Rogue One. So, okay. So I'm flipping through the sketchbook here. And I'm going to do this over top of the drawing because it's going to dry for a second. So as I'm flipping through the sketchbook and seeing all the random whatnots that I've drawn throughout these pages, I'm just looking for something. See, there's all Star Wars aliens. I got prints of those. Something that peeks out, that maybe I want to throw down for that final panel. but there's nothing specific that I've got in mind. Right? That's the whole thing about doing this, is that if you come at it from an open-minded position where anything goes, you're going to see something that makes you go, oh yeah, that looks fun, I'll put that there. Like, let's look at the context we've got for the end of this page. We've got, I just watched the Star Wars series of films, all 8 of them. So we've got disparity, this person here, this person climbing a mountain. We've got this sort of alien-like individual, or we can put a face on him if we want to, with the crazy dome thing in behind. And then now we've got this 1/5 of a page left that we can put something else in. Did you start with Battle of the Drones first? I like that. What is it? The Phantom Menace. Which is funny because it makes me think of Fantomas, which is a French character from the 1930s, 1920s. Yeah, I say there's 8 films. That's just what I say. So we've got, here's an element that could be put in here. Here's a person where the color is flicking out. So we could zoom in on this aspect in that bottom panel. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, there is 9. There is 9 there, Chad. Yeah, because I don't count that last pile of junk, because that wasn't a film. That was just somebody ham-hocking a whole bunch of ideas together, not actually structuring a film. So, and the JJ, what's his lips there, doesn't know how to finish a story to save his life. All right, so let's do this. Let's put this guy in. So let's add this element to this, but we're going to have to switch it around. I'll have to turn it around. What is the best Star Wars quote? That's a good question. I think it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because the whole thing about Obi-Wan Kenobi is, when Luke says to him, Ben, why did you lie to me? Why didn't you tell me that Vader was my father? And he says, well, I didn't lie to you from a certain point of view. It's just the stupidest thing. Yes, he did. He lied. He misrepresented the truth. He said, your father was killed by a former pupil of mine who went to the dark side. I suppose when he's talking about the death of this character's identity, yeah, but telling a young person his parentage is dead because of another person can, really mess with that kid's direction here. That can really mess with that kid's judgments, his value judgments, because if that stirs up the wrong one to go on some plot of revenge, he's responsible for that by that little play around with truth, right? Okay, here's something fun happening. I want to hold this up closer to the camera so people can see it. Oh, Lead 76 Lakes, it's a trap. Okay, there's a good spot. So there's this, as this is drying, there's this texture peeking through. A resist process between the medium that's down, the buckling of the tissue, and the ink that's over top. So there's these wonderful little patterns developing through here along this, in this void area. It just gives it interesting body and shape. Fun stuff. Weird, wild stuff. Yeah, there's some weird, wild stuff there. So I'm just using this stencil as a squaring tool to establish the shape of our last panel. And what I'm doing is that we've got this abrupt linear break here between these two panels and this one, but they're connected. But there's this bump in on the sides here. And so what I've done is I pushed back out with the sides of this panel back to match the ones before, although I think I'm a little short on this one. I think it actually goes this far. So look at us. Look at us. They're fantastic flying machines. So there we go. So we've got, I say this and I draw this in, even though immediately after I draw this panel area, I'm like, I don't want that. I'm complex. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. So first things first, I'm going to draw in. So we've got this image that we're going to utilize, right? Right. Now I'm going to draw it in. I can't get both of these things in the screen at the same time, I don't think. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to put the head facing the other way. I'm also going to change the light, switch the sides of the face that it's on, because this one doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to do this. And he's having a bad day. And then the lines, those linear elements that are coming off of the head here to show direction, we're going to put those in as well. It's at the ugly stage, as I say, and some of the videos keep going. It becomes awesome. What wish I thought of that before tossing a bunch and not finishing them. Well, that's the thing, right? There's this part of us that the immediate consideration we have is, what is it? Is it meet my expectation? And so if it doesn't, or if I have some measure of embarrassment because it's not of the quality that I'm striving for, off it goes. And I tear it up or I throw it out or whatever it is. And I would really advocate that there's probably something else that you could try with it. Even if it means taking this page and chopping the panels out and using them for something else or whatever it might be. But don't just throw out the baby with the bathwater. So I'm really pushing perspective on this guy here, by the way. I've taken my sketch idea and I'm just going to go to town with it. Oh, that's great. Glad to hear it, Led. So I've got these two hands going in here now. I'm changing this hand. The whole point of our sketchbooks is not rigidity. It's not, I'm going to do it exactly as I've made it here. It's learning. And the things that we learn while sketching should be things that we can then utilize in some way, shape, or form. That's how the donuts get made, folks. There's another, ridiculous expression that is probably not of any help for people. So I've got these lines coming through here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, okay, so there's nothing more from this. So now I'm going to, so this is a primary pencil that kids use in school that I'm scribbling in here with. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to go about the rest of the body here. I'm just sort of figuring it out as I go along. You're your own source. Sure. Well, that's great. Thanks for posting that, Chris. So as you take, these ideas that you've scrambled together, as you take these concepts, these experiments, these moments of learning, they afford you so many opportunities, so many avenues for you to try different stuff. And be free with that. Allow yourself that. Do so without concern about, well, what am I going to use this for? What am I going to do with this? Where's this going to go? Just play. Just play. The things that you've done and the things that you've got available to use. And if you sit there and overthink everything, you're not going to get down to the using of them. I'm trying to think of how I want this guy to go. And so every little line that I put here like this is just thinking of the leg. I'm imagining the entire structure of the leg as I do. Like that's me thinking of the foot. If that makes any sense. There we go. Because this isn't going to be so clearly represented as some of the other imagery here. We're going to be really, really loose. Allow yourselves to play a little bit. So here's our guy. I think what I might want to do. Yeah, you'll do. No dark sus. Not bad. So when I scan this, because there's so many different kinds of grays, there's so many different kinds of marks and things that I'm putting in. Like this is a very warm gray that I'm throwing down now. But the whole point of it is to just get some shape language in here. This guy's going to try to curl up and find his way. But we're going to pull all kinds of things out of this as we go. So, just thinking and stinking at the same time. Don't be precious about stuff. You can fix it. You can pull stuff out of whatever. Just go with your gut. Get your guts going. Let's see, I got this ballpoint. Let's throw some of that in. The only way to learn is by making and learning from those mistakes. Don't fear the paper. Seasons don't fear the paper. I love that song. Earlier today, I was listening to the Doobie Brothers. And I was walking around my kitchen making myself lunch going, I couldn't think of the words, but I'm just making noise with Michael McDonald. Thursdays are for making noise with Michael McDonald. The reason I advocate, staying true to the things that you want to express in your ideas and stuff like that, as long as they're positive and happy and not just nobody needs any more garbage. but is that you're going to say something that someone else has been waiting to hear. You're going to say something that's going to help bring somebody else to a place of good that they might not have considered if you hadn't allowed yourself to be true to that way that you see the world and believe the world. Unless you're a crackpot, you got enough crazy crackpot theories. So I decided that I wanted to tuck this second foot back, but I'm not changing any of these other things that I put down. I'll just incorporate them. We'll just make them work for us. That's part of the fun, right? Part of the fun. There you go. Look at you. I knew you had it in you. This guy's doing his best. He's doing his best. I've been walking around with more and more stuff all over my hands at this point. That black spot looks like a ghost with a neck. Do you mean this? That was the idea. So there's a different with ink and pencil and paint that you do details while you draw and not go back after laying out the shape. Or sometimes yes, sometimes no. I just go with the moment. I don't overthink it too much. And the reason behind all of that is that if I overthink it too much, I'm not going to be able to allow myself to just stay open to the possibility. So this is where is that you? Yes, it is. So if I'm lockstepping myself in, this is the way I need to do X, Y, Z, then I might not be able to discover other letters of the alphabet because I've been so beholden to the expectation of outcome. So it takes time, it takes routine and repetition and stuff like that, but eventually there'll be things that you'll find yourself directed towards as you're working that make a little more sense to you, and maybe somebody else will look at it and go, what in the world, where'd that chaos come from? And that's okay. This is your process, right? So whatever works for you. Have I ever dealt with burnout or getting stuck in my head affecting my drawing and production before? No. No, I do something else. The only real challenge I've had of that in the last few years is during the time that I took off from social media because, a lot going on. I started thinking about a certain project and how do I go about this project, and I started overthinking the contextuality of said project. And what does that mean? Like, is it a big left turn for people? Is it going to be, am I worried about that? And I started to second guess myself about whether or not this was the right thing to do. And then I thought about it more and I realized if it's not the right thing to do for people, well, that's for the people. That's not for me to worry about. If somebody doesn't gel with anything that I'm doing, then that's for them. That's not, there's absolutely zero that I could do to make them gel with whatever I'm doing. So I started showing things when I came back recently, like a lot of the religious paintings and drawings that I do each week, and some of these projects that I'm working on. And you know, if people are going to leave over that, that's for them. There's nothing I could have done about that, or nothing I should worry about that, because that's, you know, who am I to say, hey, no, stick around? What are you doing? That's not, yeah. So, yeah, no, that's as close as I might come. Did you almost ditch us? No, not at all. What it was is a couple of things. One, health, and two, family. So, you know, this is, I really value being here and people coming and joining in. Appreciate that. But yeah, health and family, folks. We got to make decisions about stuff. If we believe they're for the right reasons, stick with them. So I'm going to be having a little bit more silly fun here with this. And I'm going to see if this will work. But escape my desk. People here get so intense at praying. Well, there you go. I hear you. It's you're going to get all kinds of intense ideologies from folks. It's important, you know. Like, that's why I don't stand here and say, here's how the world should be. That's not for me to do that to people. That's not fair. I hate that when people, I've had that my whole life, where people make this judgment call, and this is right and this is wrong, but in a way that has no context to, you know, this world we live in and how people live. It's one thing to express an idea. It's another thing to, holy camole, make it all encompassing for every person in existence around you. That's not how it works. So I have a problem with this white one, that the ink bunches up around the nozzle, and it makes me a little bit crazy. So what I'm trying to do is load some pigment out of the brush part. We got some coming. And then I'm going to flick it onto my guy, but that's not being agreeable for me right now. So we'll just do it the old school way. Get some white ink, right? And throw it down. Break from social media is always a good thing. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up, folks. Yeah, if you've got, it's important. Allow yourself breaks from whatever it is that you need breaks from, right? Like this, it's not fair. And if people do this to you, have a really clear response from them about it. But it's not fair for people's expectation of your presence in this digital landscape to supersede your health and welfare. That's not fair. Anyone that tries to say that that's how it should be, those are people who you should not be too interested in what they're saying. Because where's the value for you? Making it schmutzy. There we go. Now I got this white here. Now we got this white here. Is this brush going to be in any way, shape, or form agreeable? Let's throw some more white into these little bits of cliff face just to make it more interesting. Okay, so walk away from digital analog. Yeah, I mean, don't feel so. Don't feel, you obligated to the point of removing you from whatever things that may be of more immediate need. I really appreciate everybody here. I really do, and I really appreciate people want to listen to this old pile of bricks yak about whatever. But I completely understand. This is just my headspace. It's my head canon. It might not be everybody's. Because we got to be honest. If anybody wants to know why I have the headcanon I have, I'll tell them all about the magic of the jelly beans. But, not here. I'm really impressed and interested in all the things that people are doing of late, and I'm trying to follow everything I can. And I'm sorry, I'm doing my best. I'm having a challenging time getting the ability to be able to sit down and look at what some folks are producing in the moment. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. My whole experiment with this guy needs to be pulled across. Condensed it too much. All right, so here's this page. We wrapped up a page, folks. Yay, team. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Let's see what we can do really quickly with one of the other ones. Oh, there you go. Let them figure it out. Let's try finishing this. This is this page that is a similar kind of a thing where a guy's flying through the air. Now I'll show you the original sketch. This is some of the doodles that this came from. So this guy here, okay, I want to try something with this. And bear with me for a minute, because you're never going to, learn different things if you don't. Is his feet sliding down the wall, or is he free falling? I love him. The motion is super duper. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think it's just falling. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in a minute. So with this one, this guy's just tumbling through space. But this crosshatch thing that I did when I was scribbling this in red pen, I want some of that. I want me some of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scribble over top of this. And if it goes outside the edge, I'm good with that. Because that's something that we can work with. Now, other people might be more precious with this. But I'm playing. And as part of play, we make messes. I used to work in an office, and when it really used to always give me consternation. As soon as it was St. Patrick's Day, suddenly half of my office identified with their Irish heritage. Oh, that's great. Did your parents come over? Or, well, no, my family's been here for a whole bunch of generations, but then you're not Irish. You're just not Irish anymore. So you're wearing all your green business today and having fun, because you're just having fun. Just have fun. You don't have to be Irish. It's It's interesting, some of us families haven't been here so long. And they might be a little more connected to it because you've got X amount of family in another part of the world that you're constantly in contact with. But at a certain point, invest where you are. Besides, I've never understood St. Paddy's Day. It's a symbolic thing. That isn't really a thing. Okay, so there's our cross-hatch pants. Neat freak, just tidy your kind of messy or chaotic art table. I say Christopher here is a neat freak. I'm not a neat freak. Definitely not. I'm just highly organized. I make that distinction because there are so many things that I have on the go simultaneously that would not be the case if I was more neatly arranged. And, if I could just, when you pile multiple projects up on top of each other, which is a problem I do, then you lose sight of what in the world am I working on right now? What was first? What's due? And that's a problem that I have. I wish I was neater. I really do. I wish that I'm always trying to think of more beneficial organizational systems that I never implement. When you look at Lori's side of the studio office, that's neat. She's got everything tidy and yeah, makes sense. Whereas my side is just massive stuff. So yeah, I could be neater. I could be neater, definitely. And I just keep things handy so that I can use them, right? I'm gonna crack out the good old ballpoint. Well, there you go. So yeah, allow yourself your working process. Like if you find that having everything in front of you, like I do, is a benefit, yeah, and you have the ability to do that, because not everybody does. Chris is a small confined, our friend Chris Kay here has a small confined space that she's trying to keep everything available as she can, but she has limited amount of space in her place, and that's the normal way. That's we're only at the place we're at now because kids are grown up and doing their own thing. But if when they were all home, I had a studio away from the house for X amount of time, and then my studio was an 8-foot by 9-foot space next to the furnace and the cat litter for a long time. So yeah, that's why I got organized. I'm asking questions about models. A lot of creative types like models because they're fun. It's replicas, little dimensional replicas of real things, real life things, or things in the imagination as well. Sure, but I did 1/35th models when I was a young man. I really enjoyed those. But kids, that went by the wayside, kids. So I'm just throwing this white jelly paint and tying in the edges a little bit, not too strenuously. I like the mess. I like the chunky bits. So I'll scan these pages today and throw color on them. This will be 4 pages today that we're finishing off. Go team, go. Go team, go. But I've got, we'll see, I might as yet finish them off. I think at least if I can scan them. Color might be tomorrow. Because I've got projects due. And those are the things that come first, folks. Projects are fun if you get the opportunity to have something come up. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Sorry, I'm not so fully engaged with the conversation, everybody. But like Kool and the Gang, I'm in a productive mode that makes me want to get down on it. Sorry, that's just a terrible, terrible joke. Now, so there's another element of our guy. And let's go down to the bottom here. So I've got a divisional line across the page for, you know, whatever the intent of that was. I'm just going to, at least, we'll just put some marks down and pull out these little rudimentary ship shapes that are down here. And then we'll figure out what's next when I have a moment, because time is dwindling away here for me. I will be here tomorrow at 12 p.m. EST. If people have anything specific media that you might want me to try out, or a suggestion for one-page story, please let me know. Put it in comments for this video afterwards. If you put it in the chat, I might more than likely not see it, just because I don't scrub through the chats. I'm working on an animated project right now too, which is something that tends to be the bottom rung of my priority ladder. You like that? I just came over that. Where does that sit on your priority ladder? So there's our boats. So the idea here is this is going to be water. So I've got ideas of how to go about doing that. And I think it'll involve, you know, throwing on another piece of paper. And so rough lining these things in here. I don't know. We'll see, because I've got all this detail and all this stuff coming through. So how do I go about doing that? We'll figure it out. I'm missing all kinds of stuff. Organizing the art studio. Our first artist, Christopher Huntsman. Oh my goodness. Creative genius. Who's that guy? This says nothing about my dancing. So I'm just putting in some little scribbly doop doops here, official term, and just adding in some marks, some patterns, just some interesting little bumps. I'm actually, in my head, I'm playing with folds and things. So yeah, so there we go. So we've got, and then this will be our monster guy. Let's just put some. I don't want to put all kinds of definitive lines on this dude, because I think the half of it will be drawn out of coming out of the water. So I don't want to do too clearly define it. But if I'm going to put stuff over top, I got to have some measure of comprehension. But this is just taking the idea that was in that sketchbook and putting it to use. So we'll figure out the rest of it later. Okay, so yeah. So there's the next thing that'll be put through today. See, this is a lot of drawn pattern and then letraset thrown in here as well, and then removed out as well. So there's all kinds of funny, silly little combinations that are going into making this page. So this is kind of fun. But the scribbling in my head works. It's something removed from this, and this, you know. You can tighten up the white area around it required, but yeah, I'm having fun with this, folks. Okay, well, listen, this has been a lot of fun today. If you got one-page story ideas you want to suggest, please feel free to do so. I'll scan this and put some dialogue to it and get this out in the World Wide Webs. But in the meantime, I hope everybody has a good day and get some work done. And if there's anything I can do to help out, always let me know. All right, folks, thanks very much. Bye for now. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. EST, if you're available. Take care.